Sacred family, fellow travelers into the beyond, this week, starting April 27th through May 3rd, our sacred sun, our beingness, moves us into the light of the 24th I Ching, named the turning point, thunder within the earth. The old makes way for the new, which activates the grounding force of the earth. What we see, the 44th I Ching, named coming to meet, wind under heaven, inferior elements rise. The cosmic dance that reveals in stillness, in your silence, a new perspective on an old belief, an opportunity to see the light with fresh eyes, offering us all an opportunity, a sacred mirror into a higher truth, a chance to meet a part of yourself in a deeper way, to respond imaginatively, to evolve, to rise higher. So this week, we all have a chance to consciously meet and transform the shadow state of addiction and interference. An opportunity to hold your humanity in loving awareness and rise into your essence, the silence within, which is where we find clarity, who you truly are. Will you return to the core of your spirit, to your essence, to the inner silence? Will you hear the whisper of your intuition? To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. Lao Tzu. This week's cosmic dance ushers in the Scorpion full moon, the flower moon, exact May 1st at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Time. Every full moon signifies a peak of energy and illumination, often symbolizing a release, a completion point, as the lunation cycle reaches its fullest point, often resulting in integration, introspection, reflection, and heightened intuition. In Scorpio, it brings hidden suppressed emotions to the surface, demanding honesty to allow a rebirth, a shift, a movement in energy. Scorpio is the energy of merging, how we emotionally connect and attach to others. Intimacy, emotional depth, shared resources, and power dynamics. So you can be seeking that confidant, that person you can be completely raw and honest with. This is what the Scorpio energy is ultimately seeking, those healthier outlets of being seen for who you are. So during this full moon, there is an invitation to see yourself in the mirror, to fully love and accept who you are right now, and to also be honest on what you're ready to evolve from that is pulling you down and holding you back from the higher version, the higher vision of your embodiment. Traditionally, the flower moon, which is always the first full moon in May, marks the time when many wildflowers burst into full bloom, a magical reminder of renewal and growth, internally and externally. The birth of each new day offers us a chance to re-examine a past situation or belief, an opportunity to see in a new light, through fresh eyes, who we are right now. This week's cosmic dance activates and amplifies mental energy. You may find yourself going over and over things, trying to rationalize them, or you may be looking to solve a mystery. The energy is a pulse between knowing and not knowing, the mental pressure to find the answers, the shadow state of addiction and interference. Not one person on the planet can escape the shadow of addiction. There are many types of addictions. The ones we typically hear about are drugs, sex, alcohol, and gambling. But what about eating, working, dating, and watching TV? And nowadays, it's social media, our phones. And the biggest and most intense of all of the addictions, and the root of all our suffering, is the addiction to our ego mind, our thought loops, our beliefs, our judgments of ourself and the world around us, and our need to rationalize, understand, solve, and fix, to prejudge the world we see. All addiction is really is misidentification. We identify with a form in the world. Because of the suffering inside, what we feel as grief, numbness, boredom, anxiety, frustration, bitterness, loneliness, or any deeply uncomfortable state. And we would like to avoid feeling that state. And so we find a pattern of behavior that temporarily suspends the discomfort. And then we begin to rely on that pattern of behavior when we begin to feel that discomfort coming back. And this is usually deeply unconscious. This is what I refer to as karma, karmic patterns that we each incarnate with, that create our suffering and animate the world in front of us, our self-reflected consciousness. And of course, these behavior patterns don't take away the pain. It just delays it. It conceals it. It distracts us from facing it, but only for a little while, as the discomfort will always haunt us. And the world that is reflected back to us at the shadow state is interference, our karmic relationship dynamics, which is the dilemma of hierarchy. But it's important right here at the beginning, when considering the shadow awareness, is to realize that hierarchy isn't in of itself a bad thing. It's an unescapable principle written into the structure and fabric of our universe. Our evolution is a passage from hierarchy to synarchy, and the only difference between them is perspective. It's profound. It's powerful once you see through it. So it's all a matter of where our awareness is based. At the shadow state, awareness is rooted in survival, in fear, whether that's an individual or a group fear. It sees hierarchy, it sees competition, it sees fear. So it's not healthy competition that is rooted in excellence or service. It's competition rooted in fear. So the dilemma of hierarchy is only a perceived dilemma. You see fear. It colors the lens in which we perceive the world. This is a deep-rooted fear of the past, the fear of going backwards. It's deeply unconscious. At the shadow state, we're always overwhelmed by the fear or in reaction to the fear. So you either accept the hierarchy laws, or you try to escape them, or you may try to manipulate them to your advantage. There aren't any other options. So we become a victim of isolation, which manifests as being distrustful and misguided. But now, let's bring this to the grassroots. This shadow state is about relationship dynamics, particularly group dynamics. So think about how the fear frequency operates in your own family. So there are always those members in the family unit that are the submissive types, the ones that just go along with things in order to try to keep the peace, to maintain a false sense of peace. These are the repressive natures. And then on the other side, there are the reactors. Let's call them nuclear reactors. And in them, the fear is externalized through anger. So comes out more often than not as irritation and the need to constantly control everything. But it's not always so cut and dry either, because we could be both. As we shift our pattern from repressive to reactive or vice versa, then the patterns around us shift in reaction to it. And that, my friends, is the interference frequency at work. It's a cosmic dance. We exist in a self-projected consciousness. And the job of this dynamic is to really maintain our misery, our suffering. The overall frequency that this shadow dynamic of addiction and interference creates, whether it's a family dynamic or a business structure, the feeling it generates is resentment, which leads to breakup. In the individual, it leads to breakdown. In the relationship, it usually leads to break up. It splits apart the family. It causes the business to fail. It divides the community, and it eventually drives the country into a revolution. If it's internalized, it's a revolution. If it's externalized, it's war. Yes, this is heavy. You see, peace is in the cells. The vibration of fear creates interference throughout any organism. It begins inside the human body, deep inside your DNA. That is where war begins. You see, your DNA will output chemical signals that cause you to repress your individuality, your genius, your uniqueness because of external forces. Or your DNA will output chemical signals that excite you into reaction because of external forces. So, fire or water, one or the other, in both, fear vibration will trap you. So, the dilemma isn't hierarchy, but your response to hierarchy. And your response is governed by your perception. So, what hierarchy really does in the world, it offers you and I a mirror, and that mirror asks the question, am I allowing external forces to shape my reality? Am I a victim of something that appears to be outside of me, that appears to be limiting me or controlling me? Remember, this is rooted for each of us to a deep, deep unconscious fear of the past, fear of going backwards. It's ancestral cellular memory. Hierarchy can only take away freedom if you think freedom is something external. And if you find true freedom, which is inner freedom, then hierarchy simply can't touch it. Nothing can touch true freedom. Life places us within these dysfunctional families, these challenging hierarchy relationship dynamics, these groups and families that split apart in order for you to learn the great lesson that it isn't about the other. It never has been. It's been about you, your cells. You see, the addiction patterns and the interference you see begins inside you as a perception of the outer world rooted in fear. And that is what hierarchy is. And when we see it, when we see through this illusion, then everything in life begins to shift. The dilemma of the shadow state of addiction and the nut that needs to crack open in order to move past this shadow state is the dilemma of gravity. And this may sound odd, but gravity is the weight of the world, the weight, the heaviness of being in a human body. There are two types of forces in life. There's gravity, which holds us down, and the force of levity, which lifts us up. And we're caught in the middle of this dance between these two forces. Gravitational patterns trap us. They cause us to breathe less deeply. They cause us to contract. Our mind gets fixated and depressed. They make us feel bad about ourselves. Because deep down we know we're avoiding something which creates inner tension and heaviness in the body. Levitational patterns, they lift us up, they elevate us, they clarify our thinking, they give us hope, a sense of freedom, vitality of life. Levity lifts us beyond what we can see, opening up our heart and spirit to a greater vision of what's possible. These patterns give us a sense of purpose. And life is played out in the field of these two patterns. One pulls us down, the other pulls us up. We soar high one moment, only to plummet down the next. And we all know the huge effort it takes to pull ourselves back up again once we have fallen. And there's so many stories we tell ourselves when we succumb to the forces of gravity and fall victim to our addictive patterns. It really is something being human. The secret to working with this shadow and being human is to look in the mirror. It's to be honest with yourself. This week's magical cosmic dance, this Scorpion full moon, may reveal a new perspective on an old belief, the potential to see the light in fresh eyes. This is a potent time of witnessing and transforming the way you rationalize the world that you see, a perspective shift that has been limiting you and the world around you. What do you do that prevents you from enjoying the pauses? What do you do that causes you to miss out on the finer things in life, what really matters? Am I allowing external forces to shape my reality? Am I a victim of something that appears to be outside of me, that appears to be limiting me, controlling me? And once you really see, once you witness the nature of your addictive tendencies, the gravity, the heaviness, something that really drags you down rather than lift you up, once you see through the illusion of your relationship dynamics, everything begins to slowly shift. The cellular memories of your DNA begin to heal. The original name of this frequency, this cosmic dance, is turning point, also known as the returning. It's about going back to the roots in order to change the pattern. There is a well known Chinese proverb: sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Intuitively, this lunation cycle is a turning point for all of us, a culmination point of a bigger cycle that started nearly 8 years ago. We have all been forced to mature and refine what matters to us the most, to find the joy in the simple, in the essential, the silence of our heart. In the silence, you disconnect from all the mental noise and go inwards. Answers, clarity are found in the silence. They arise spontaneously when the mind gets still, as there's space for it to emerge. This is a potent time to return to the core of who you truly are. Sometimes you need to stop and go back to see that you have taken the wrong turn or that you have outgrown the current path. This lunation cycle may lead you to the return to what truly is important, what matters the most. Silence is the ultimate addiction. It's inner freedom. When we start living without the answers, we simply become the answer. We become the mystery of life. We experience being alive. When we cultivate silence, when we romance it, we then create the conditions that allow the magical realm, the infinite potential. We witness the powerful evolutionary force of creation moving through us. When we listen to the silence, we hear the aliveness of truth, of who we truly are. Only in the silence are we truly together in the oneness of our sacred heart. To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. Lao Tzu. Remember, love yourself and choose to be blessed.